What we're going to look at in this video is we're going to look at turning short answers into long answers, or stretching out what you would be writing in a short answer question into a longer answer question, and getting rid of the mistakes when that often happens. All right, it's one of the hardest things to do when you're writing essays the first time, when you're starting to go from short answer questions where you get given a couple of lines and you get asked to write, to something where you're asked to give a much longer answer. So what we're going to look at here is we're going to look at the process of turning a really short answer, should I say, to a really long one. We're going to mainly focus on how to get to the word limit easily. So if you've got, let's just say, 1,000 word limit, it's actually much easier if you have a good process than if you just sort of take it like you're writing a short answer question and just add more to it. So what we're going to look at is a good way of being able to do it. All right, now we need a question here to be able to answer so we can actually have a look at this process in action. So we're going to use this question as our example. Why do we eat some animals but not other animals? We're going to look at a short answer question first of all. So we're going to look at a model here. There are many different reasons why people eat some animals and not others. Different animals have different body types, with some more suited to eating than others. Some animals, such as pigs and sheep, are farmed and eaten based on taste and availability. Other animals, such as toads, are unable to be eaten or are not enjoyed by many people. Okay, so that's a very good short answer question. However, it doesn't make an essay. So we need to work out which parts of this we keep, which parts of this we drop, and which parts we use in different places. So we can use our detail from our short answer, our essay question, or in our answer. So there are many reasons why people eat some animals, not others. Different animals have different body types, with some more suited to eating than others. Okay, so we've got the first two sentences here straight up. And what we can do with those first two sentences, we can turn them into our introduction. So our introduction contains a couple of things. First of all, we have a rewrite of the question and a definition. That is, our first sentence, why people eat some animals and not others, that's pretty much the question rephrased or rewritten. That is a rewrite of the question. Our second sentence, different animals have different body types with some more suited to eating than others, is a reason why we eat some animals, not others, or a very short summary of what we're going to be writing, so it is our definition. So in our first two sentences, we have our rewrite and our definition. So that means that we can save ourselves a bit of work there. Now all we need to do is add the main points of our argument. Speaking of which, let's actually focus on our argument. And we've got the first detail here of the last half of that short answer. So some animals such as pigs and sheep are farmed and eaten based on taste availability. And the other one, other animals such as toads are unable to be eaten or enjoyed by many people. We've got those points. Now these are going to form our two main ideas. So our first body paragraph and our second body paragraph. This means now that we have a little bit more content for our essay and something that we can go into detail for. This is what we've got so far. We've got half of our introduction, as in just based off what we had from the short answer question. We have our first part of our body, and we've got the first, basically our two body paragraphs. So we've got half an introduction and our topic sentences. So that's our starting point. But as you'll notice from that diagram, we've got a lot of grey spaces there. We need a lot to fill in. So even though we've got some of our essay started based on what we had in our short answers, we need to now extend all of that. So to finish the introduction, we just need to add what the main points are. So let's focus on just finishing this bit here first. We need to add that point that some animals are eaten because of their taste and availability, and some are not enjoyed or are harmful. So essentially what these two topic sentences are. So we can do that, and we can then finish our introduction. That's done. And then we can move on to what our body paragraphs are going to say. So let's do that. Okay, so now we're just going to go straight into the body. So after we've done our intro, we can pretty much go straight into what our main points are, and we can go into the point that we're going to use. So we're going to use one of the two that we had, and we're going to use this one. So some animals, such as pigs and sheep, are eaten based on taste and availability. Now this will pretty much be our topic sentence straight up, although we're going to make one slight change before we do, which is that. Now, while this can work as a topic sentence, the reason why we can get rid of this is because this can form part of our evidence. All right, so we can change our sentence and we can use such as pigs and sheep as part of what our evidence is going to be. We can pretty much then have a very simple topic sentence that's just going to go very direct and means that we're not just talking about pigs and sheep, we're talking about all types of animals which are farmed. So animals that go on farms, animals which are grown for grocery stores and those sorts of chains, we can talk about those. We can talk about them a bit better. So now we have a strong topic sentence. So we've got one there. We now need to focus on explaining it and discussing it in more detail. So, some animals are farmed and eaten based on taste and availability. It is this meat which is delivered to supermarkets and restaurants. And meat grown from farms is the most likely to be eaten. Okay, so now we've gone into a little bit more depth on that. Animals which are not in demand are not farmed and so are not eaten. So it explains why farmed and eaten animals are ones that we prefer. Okay, but we're not done yet, because we need to now add some evidence, as in something that proves it, and a lead out, so we can then go on to our next paragraph about animals you wouldn't eat and why you wouldn't eat them. So we'll have our beginning, and we're going to combine that now with our discussion, and then we're going to add our evidence first of all. According to the Australian Meat Bureau, pigs and sheep are among the most produced meats in Australian farms and have the most satisfied customers. So this is saying that why popular choice, something that's farmed, is something that we would prefer to have as food. And it just proves why we choose to eat animals based on taste and availability, and why we choose to eat some animals and not others. This is where our lead out also helps, because we can say this shows that animals are chosen to be eaten based on taste and availability. So we've got that point there, our chosen to be eaten, which is part of our question. As in, why do we eat some animals? Well, we choose to eat some animals, and that's the reason why. All right, so we can then move on to our conclusion. And right here, we're going to focus on really wrapping it up with a nice big bow. You need to write your next paragraph and then come up with a strong conclusion where you just tie those two ideas together. Now, we're not going to go into that because it's going to take a bit of time, but you pretty much use the exact same process that you had used the first time round. And seeing as we didn't have any detail for our conclusion, then you would just write your own conclusion based off what you had before and what you eventually write for your essay. So your conclusion is going to be completely new. So what do you not do using this process? Well, first of all, let's have a look at this diagram over here. Now you'll just see a big clump. This is pretty much our entire short answer written in your first main paragraph. As in, they will rewrite something for an introduction, and then what a lot of students do is they'll just try to continue it on, and that's how they write an essay the first time. So if you're one of those people who the first time you write an essay, all you do is take what you have done doing short answer questions and then just keep going, that's not a good way to do it. I'll explain why. First of all, you run out of things to say very quickly. So if you've got lots of things in your first paragraph, you then try and carry it on in your second and in your third, you're going to run out of ideas and it's not going to be quite as good. The second thing is your answer will quite simply not be as good, because one thing about short answers, one of the big differences between a short answer question and an essay is an essay needs to be a lot more detailed. You need to go into a lot more discussion, you need to find more evidence. Everything that we had there in our short answer question is not going to cut it in an essay paragraph. That is why we need to do what we did before, which is split it up, have some points in our introduction, and then have our main arguments in our topic sentences. So then we can go into more detail and we can come up with a much better answer. The other thing is that by going to more detail, you'll actually find it's much easier to then be able to write more and to be able to meet word counts. All right, because you've got a couple of ideas, and then by just explaining those a little bit, you've already got pretty much half your answer right there, and you don't have to think of much more. So in conclusion, good luck. There are a couple of tips that I've got here if you do need a bit more information. First of all, which is watch the videos again. Essays take a lot of pretty much drilling, and the only way you can really learn it is by drilling yourself in it. So doing it over and over again. So it's a very good idea to watch all these videos again. The other thing you need to do is to take some notes. Have something that you write down what your understanding of each video is. So take down the main points and have them ready for when you are starting to write essays if you haven't written them before, or just have them in the background for whenever you're writing an essay. And finally, always try to start good habits. Don't get into bad habits. Don't skip steps and take shortcuts, because one thing that happens when you do that is your quality of essays start to go down, and you pretty much you find yourself back here again having to learn the basics again. All right, don't take shortcuts, start good habits. Otherwise, that's it for essay writing and introduction to essay writing. So until next time, I'll see you later.